After the flood, which lasted 40 days and 40 nights, Noah's Ark finally came to rest on a mountain. There was almost no food left on board. So he did the only thing he could do. He gathered the last grains of wheat, the last pieces of dried fruit, and the last handful of nuts remaining on the ark and put them all into a pot. That pot is still used today to cook food. We call it Aşure. According to a legend widely told in Muslim, Christian, and Jewish traditions, Noah's Ark came to rest on Mount Ararat, located in what is now eastern Anatolia, after the great flood subsided. The journey had been long, and their supplies were nearly exhausted. There weren't enough ingredients left to make a proper meal. There were only scraps, a little wheat here, a handful of chickpeas there, some dried fruit, a few nuts. So instead of setting aside the small amount that remained, Noah put it all into a single pot. Wheat, beans, dried apricots, raisins, walnuts, whatever was left went into it. The result was a thick, hearty pudding. No one had specifically planned it this way. It was simply the only way to ensure that nothing and no one went to waste. That's why, even today, there's no single correct recipe for Aşure. Every family's version is a little different, because the dish's main purpose is to use whatever ingredients you have on hand. Aşure is traditionally prepared on the 10th day of the month of Muharram. This date is known as Aşure Day, which holds deep significance in many religions. It is associated with Moses leading his people to freedom and is also a sacred day of remembrance in the Shia tradition. However, in Turkish homes, this day is celebrated as a warm and communal tradition. Aşure is typically cooked in large pots, enough to fill dozens of bowls, and shared with neighbors, regardless of religion or background. It is sometimes called the pudding of an entire civilization, because over the centuries it has absorbed Turkish, Arab, Persian, Balkan, Armenian, and Greek influences. No two households make it exactly the same way, and that is precisely the point. Let's get started. Making Aşure requires a little patience, mostly during the soaking time, but the actual cooking process is simple. Here's how to make it. What you'll need: whole wheat grains, chickpeas, and white beans. Soak separately overnight. Dried apricots, dried figs, raisins, walnuts, and hazelnuts. A pinch of grated orange zest or rose water for sweetness and fragrance. Some versions also include rice or dried corn. Remember, there's no single set recipe. The night before, soak the wheat, chickpeas, and beans separately in plenty of water. Each will swell to about twice its original size. The next day, drain the wheat and rub it between your hands under running water, gently removing the outer husk until the water runs clear. This process softens the texture. First, cook the wheat in fresh water until it is tender but still slightly chewy. This may take an hour or more, so be patient. Cook the chickpeas and beans separately until they are tender as well. Once everything has softened, place the wheat, chickpeas, and beans in a large pot with plenty of water. Add the sugar and cook over low heat, stirring occasionally with a wooden spoon to prevent sticking. After about 20 minutes, add the chopped dried apricots, figs, and raisins. Continue cooking over low heat until the mixture reaches a loose porridge-like consistency. It should be thick enough to coat the back of a spoon, but remain pourable, as it will thicken further as it cools. Pour the Aşure into separate bowls and let it cool completely. Traditionally, it is served cold or at room temperature, not hot. You can get creative with the toppings. A sprinkle of ground cinnamon, chopped walnuts, pomegranate seeds for color and tartness, and a few extra pieces of dried fruit placed on top. Presentation is key here. This dish is meant to be shared, so make sure it looks generous. There are a few things to keep in mind. Don't rush the soaking process. Wheat and beans that haven't been soaked long enough will never soften properly, no matter how long you cook them. Stir frequently after adding the sugar, because the mixture can stick to the bottom of the pot and burn. And don't hesitate to use whatever fruits and nuts you have on hand. This isn't a shortcut, it's a tradition. somewhere between the flood that brought an end to the old world and the bowl you share with your neighbor today. This pudding has carried the same message for thousands of years. Use what you have and share the rest. If you want more recipes with a story behind every bite, subscribe. This is just the beginning.